Lauren ignited.
I'm so excited to talk to you today, Tracy. One of the, when I heard about you on a podcast, and one of the things that like really stuck out to me was that you did this in the year that you turned 34. And you had all these like really cute like ways that you like kind of celebrated your birthday with like something that you did for that year. And I've been doing that for the past like few years. One year I was like, okay, this is the year of Lauren. Like I'm just gonna get back to like centering myself and like figuring out the things that make me tick, and like following those passions and like really honoring that side of me. And then this is the year of Lauren Ignited, and I'm gonna like really work on the magazine, and I'm gonna, and so I did it like my own kind of way. And then I just turned, yeah, and then I just turned 34, and I was like, oh my gosh. So I imagine that when you did all these travels across the world, you met some really cool people. I know you've mentioned like people that you didn't even know have emailed you, and so I'm sure you've been keeping in touch with all these new friends that you've made. But what was something that like was like kind of a side effect of your travels that you didn't see coming at all?
I think for me, the biggest thing was the butterfly effect, which is sort of what inspired the fortunate movement. So I set out on this journey to, personally help other people and to understand more about them and about myself. And like you said, people just started contacting me, there's a school up in Modesto area in California that totally jumped on the fortunate movement. And actually, that teacher really inspired me to push this forth into schools and do some speaking engagements and whatnot. Or just friends and family that have, are not even friends. I don't know, like just people getting involved, I guess is what I'm trying to get at as I stumble through my words here. But really, just I set out me doing something and just seeing other people grasp onto it and move forward. And it's so much bigger than just me now. And so that has been amazing and so heartwarming for me and very inspirational.
Oh, that's awesome. So where do you think that the fortunate movement can go? Do you have like kind of a 10-year vision, or is that kind of on your radar right now, or
Yeah, we're just like in growth phase right now, but I feel like it could be a huge movement. I feel like it has some momentum growing, and like anything, it takes a while to get going. But I just see it being something that's like implemented in schools. Maybe I have a church that was talking about getting on board, even though it doesn't necessarily have to be tied to your religious beliefs, but just your personal ones as well. I just think as more and more people hear about it, it's such a quantifiable and attainable way to do something, to get beyond yourself and to just commit to one thing every 3 months. So I think that for me, it's limitless, and I'm just excited to see where it goes.
yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. And I won't speak for other people, but for myself personally, I kind of go into this spiral of like, I want to help, but there's so many things to do. How do I pick something? I get overwhelmed by all the choices and I don't do anything. you know?
Yeah, and it really just comes down to like do something. So one of my big things, because I do speaking engagements now, a lot of people are interested in my story and just especially in schools and organizations about kind of how this came to be and how they can get involved. And one of my biggest messages is I tried is exponentially more powerful than what if. So we can all sit and have here and be like, well, what if I did this and what if I did that? Well, what if I never did 30 Fortunate? Like I'd be sitting here 2 years, from the start of it now, and I would have maybe been working at my same job. Like I wouldn't have impacted other people's lives. Mine wouldn't, there's just like, where would we be today? Like what would that look like? What if, the iPhone, Steve Jobs had never invented the iPhone? Like, there's so many what ifs, and so I tried, and we're so afraid of failure sometimes that we paralyze ourselves, or we're so afraid of not making a decision, or of making a decision, that we become indecisive. And so it's just like, do something, like whatever it is, do it. If it doesn't work, that's fine, just do it again. Like do something, or do something else. Like, I don't know. And I think that actually started at a young age. I remember my dad very clearly telling me Tracy, it's not that big of a deal. Life is just a series of decisions. Like you make a decision, and if that is not the right one, then you make another decision. And when I break that down in my head, that is so simple and so genius. Like so genius. So that's sort of my big thing is don't let yourself become paralyzed by indecision or by fear. Just, do something, try.
Yeah, awesome. I love that. And I love like the quantifiable like um side of things. It's just like you said, you can do anything you want, just do it once every 3 months, and then by the end of the year, you've got four really great things that you've done for the world or for your community. And so what are some of the things that are coming up for you that are going to be a part of your fortunate for this year?
I feel like mine is 30 Fortunate just revisited constantly at this point. I feel like I'm out there doing quite a few things. But on the agenda right now, I'm doing some things with like a beach cleanup. There's an organization called Walk on Water that's helps kids with autism get out there and do surfing. So I'm going to be working with them, volunteering at some races that are coming up. I just like to get out in the community and meet people and help. And sometimes it gets me out of bed on a Saturday morning and out there in the world. So specifically, there's a ton of things with the movement itself I'm doing, but volunteer wise, it's a lot of more community centered things. My big global push was when I went to Guatemala in June.
Yeah, and you're on the West Coast, right? You're out in California?
Yeah, I'm in California.
Nice. Oh, that's awesome. Well, I hope that everybody that's listening joins the Fortunate Movement. I am joining.
Yay!
Yeah.
We're fortunate to have you.
Aw. That's sweet. Well, I think, Tracy, I think what you're doing is really cool. And I was just drawn to you, from a lot of the similarities in our stories, and then just the cool thing that you're doing that you're helping make the world a better place. And that can seem like a really daunting task. And I think you're breaking it down into something that's totally manageable. And I love that. So I wish you all the best luck in the world. And I hope that everybody joins and we make this a huge thing.
Me too. I hope so. And everyone can just start with signing up and like posting on Fortunate Friday, because the more people that do that, like the more it snowballs and the power of social media.
Exactly. Perfect. All right. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. I feel very fortunate to have been here.
Aw.